Hi, this is Stacy with Lily Bean Crafts by Stacy. Welcome back, and if it's your first time, thanks for stopping by. So I'm going to show you exactly how I start a tumbler from the beginning. So I have a 24-ounce plump from the Tipsy Magnolia here that I am taking a 220 grit piece of sandpaper, sanding it down, and then once I have that done, I'm going to take a little bit of Dawn dish soap that I put in my hand. I'm going to clean off the tumbler really good and then dry it off. And once it's completely dry, I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to spray paint it. With this one, I'm going to be using a matte white that I got from Color Shot Spray Paints. I am going to get full coverage on here, making sure that I get it really good. I am using a spray paint tent. That's what I spray it into in my garage, and I do have my doors open so I get good ventilation. I'm going to put it off to the side until it is completely dry, and then I'm going to bring it back inside with my glitter glue. I'm going to put a generous amount of my glitter glue right onto the tumbler here, taking my little brush that I got from the dollar store, and then once I get full coverage on this, I'm going to go ahead and get my glitter on here. I will be doing a glitter butt with this tumbler, so I'm just starting off by putting just a little bit of the glitter glue on the bottom rim there, and then I'll go ahead and glitter that bottom rim. I'm going in with my favorite white glitter. This is Skin of a Killer from Rae Creations, which I do have a discount code for. It is LBC10 for you to save 15% on your order. It will be in the description for you. And my bottle is getting low because I use it all the time, so I wasn't able to get full coverage that first time, so I just put the rest back in the bottle. I'm going to go ahead and finish getting full coverage on this. I'm going to then take a pair of scissors and I just tap off the top just to loosen up any extra that I have on there. And now I'm just taking my parchment paper and I'm very gently just rubbing the tumbler on there because there is a little bit of chunky pieces with that. And I want to make sure I get full coverage. I did put that off to the side for 4 hours. Now I'm going in with another coat of my glitter glue. I'll get full coverage on this, put it off to the side for another 4 hours, and then we'll get started with our first coat of epoxy. So I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly how I mix up my epoxy. So I'm starting off with these two little plastic 1-ounce medicine cup little thingies that I have that I get from Amazon, and I am going to put 10 mLs in each one. I'm going to put 10 mLs of my part A and 10 mLs of my part B. I do have my liquidy split epoxy in these little honey bottles. It just works really well for me to be able to get the right amount out, especially when I don't need a large amount. I'm going to make sure that these are completely level before I start mixing them. You want to make sure your ratios are proper. Now that I've got it together, I'm going to take my part A and pour it into the part B. They say to put the part A in first. I don't know if it necessarily makes a difference. It might. I just follow the instructions that I got. So I'm putting the part A in there. I'm going to scrape the sides of it. I do use a little metal stir stick. I feel like that helps with bubbles with me. That is just a personal preference though. It is sped up, so it looks like I'm mixing it really quickly. I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and mix it for 3 minutes, taking my time and making sure that I'm not getting a ton of bubbles with it. And then once that's done, I'll go ahead and start getting it onto the tumbler. As you can see here, I'm making sure that there's no striations, no lines that are in it. You want it to be completely clear. I do wipe it off with a paper towel, and now I'm just going to go ahead and start getting that epoxy on there. Now I'm back to where I normally am, showing how I get that epoxy going. Like I said, it is 20 mLs. This is my KS Resin Liquidy Split. I'm not going to be putting any on the bottom except for around the outer rim, and because I will be doing a glitter butt, but this is just showing how I apply the glitter or the epoxy directly to the cup. I am going to let this spin for 2.5 hours, and then I am going to go in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. I will let that spin for 4 hours, and then we'll get moving on to the next step. While this is spinning, I'm going to go ahead and work on the Waterslide paper that I'm using. I did use my Hayes Waterslide paper that I got from Amazon, and it is for my inkjet printer. So I took this outside and I am spraying it 3 separate times with my sealant. This is just a clear sealant that I'm putting on here. I'm going to completely cover it, let it dry, do another coat, and then do it a 3rd time. Then when my tumbler is done, I'm going to bring it outside. I'm going to show you how I remove the glitter butt here. This is my husband's workshop in the garage, and I just use like a little scraper and I shove it in there, and then I hit it with the hammer, and then boop, it pops right out. That is what I use all the time. It just works super easy for me. And now that that is done, the water slide paper is done, the epoxy tumbler is ready to get its water slide on here. And as I put the paper into the warm water, it starts by being really curled up. Once it starts to uncurl, then I know that the paper is ready to be released. I'm going to put some water right onto the tumbler itself, and then I'm going to take the little design and just move it around on the paper backing just to make sure it's completely loosened, and then I'll start applying it to the tumbler itself. See, I've got it just starts to move around. And then I'm going to carefully remove it from the backing. I'll hold down at the top and just start pulling it down. It does have some elasticity to it from all of the sealant that I put on there. And then you can just kind of manipulate it and move it down. I will use this little silicone scraper to start getting out all of the bubbles and the water from underneath it. And then once I have it all placed down, then I will take a cloth and start to dry it off. And then I'll put it off to the side, let it dry for a few minutes, and then I will proceed with all the additional pieces of Waterslide. And if you haven't done so yet, come check out my Lily Bean Crafters Community Facebook group. It's a place where we can get together and chat, and I've been going live every Friday. Now that this first layer is all covered, I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side for a little bit and let it completely dry. And then I'm going to go in with another 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy. That's mixing 5 mLs of my part A and part B to make the 10 mLs. And like I said, I'm using the fast set epoxy on this. I'm going to let this spin for 4 hours, and then we're going to start moving on to the next step of this process, working and getting the glitter butt going and filling in all the white gaps down here. I'm going to go ahead and spray paint some white into where the glitter butt's going to be. So I'm going to take some painter's tape and I'm just going to start bringing it around the rim here to protect the glitter part and the tumbler itself. So once I get this painter's tape all around here, then I'm going to take some saran wrap, wrap the tumbler, and then take it outside and put a quick spritz of white right into where this glitter butt's going to be. And to make your life easier, if you want to just do all of this while you're doing the original spray paint before glittering, taking off the glitter butt and then getting this part spray painted, you won't have to go through any of this process. I just wasn't sure exactly where I was going to be going with it when I started this. But if you know what your plan is going to be, you can make your life so much easier. Here I am taking some saran wrap, and I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it around the tumbler just to protect it so that when I spray paint, I don't get any of the white on this design. And now it's spray painted and it's dried, so now I'm just going to go ahead and remove all this painter's tape, remove the saran wrap, and get started on the glitter butt itself. I'm just pouring some of my UV resin that I get right from Amazon right into a cup. I am taking my Skin of a Killer glitter and I'm going to put some in there, mixing it up. You want a good ratio so that you want to be able to have movement with the UV resin, but you also don't want it to be completely translucent. You don't want to be able to completely see through it. So it's just a fine balance of where I like the glitter to UV resin to be. I don't want it to be too thick, but I also don't want it to be too thin. So you just kind of got to play around with it. So I'm just going in with my little popsicle stick here, filling in this outer rim. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and put it under my UV lamp for a minute. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some more of the UV resin and glitter mixture together, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, filling in the center here. Once I have this all in, I'm going to pop any bubbles and put it under my UV lamp for another minute and start building this up and getting it ready for the design. Now I'm going in with more of the UV resin glitter mixture. I'm going to do another coat. This coat is going to fill into not only the center of it, but it's also going to bleed over into that outer rim. I want to try to make it look like it's one solid piece. So once I get this all on and in there, I'm going to pop any bubbles. And this time I'm going to put it under my UV lamp for 2 minutes and make sure that it's really dry. Decided to have the water slide come down and add the floral to the bottom of the tumbler as well. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a really thin coat of just the UV resin, and I'm going to go ahead and put this on the bottom here. I put a big dollop of it in the center, and then I'm taking my time to like bring it around. I know it kind of went out of focus there for a second, but bring it around and get it all the way around the tumbler so it's nice and smooth. I want a nice flat surface. Popping bubbles, I'm going to put it under the UV lamp, and now that I did that, I'm going to go ahead and put another water slide on here. I wanted to make sure it was completely smooth before I did that though. So I'm doing the same thing, got it in the warm water. I'm releasing it to make sure that it's completely loose. I put water into the bottom of the tumbler, and then I'm just going ahead and carefully placing this right onto the bottom, and then I will take my little my little cloth and my squeegee and get it all set up so that I like exactly where its placement is and it's nice and clean. And now I'm going to go in with my final coat of UV resin here, just to seal in the design. So putting that dollop in there, bringing it all around, and making sure that I have the bottom completely covered and cleaned up so that it's nice looking, so that it's prepared for its final coats of epoxy. I'm going to make sure to pop all those bubbles, and then I also check to make sure that it is completely clean around the outer rim. So that's where you're seeing me put a little bit more here in. I'm going to pop the bubbles again and then put it under my UV lamp for 2 minutes. Decided to fill any white gaps in with some alcohol inks, so I'm going in with a blue and like a limeade green. I put a little bit of 91% alcohol in my little container right there, and then I'm going to take my little sea sponge and just dab a little bit of the alcohol ink on there, dip it into the alcohol to lighten it up because I don't want it to be super bright. I don't want to take away from the floral design, and I'm just going to gently just dab it all over the little white spaces. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the limeade, like neon green look. And it's just going to fill it in just enough for you to really see that it's bringing the design together and just closing it all up. And I'll just keep working the two colors back and forth until I get it to look exactly the way that I like. And then once that's all done, I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side and let it dry. I also put a name on here and some more script work because it is a gift for somebody. It is actually a bridal gift for somebody that I'm making. And so I went ahead and I just used the font Salty Feathers to do the font work for this. And if you need any information as far as how to do fonts and printing and things like that, please let me know. I'm going in with 10 mLs of my fast set epoxy here. I'm going to go ahead and let this spin for 4 hours. I'm going to sand it down and then go in with my final 10 mLs of my Artist Cure resin. Let that spin for 8 to 10 hours, and here is the final product. This tumbler is so pretty. I wish I could take credit for the design of it, but the person that I made it for, she asked me to do it, and I just put it all together, and I love the way that it turned out. And if you like this tutorial, please hit that like and subscribe button. See you again next week. Bye-bye.